It's Thursday, the 20th of June, 2024. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories, 5 minutes. Let's go. Story number 1's a big one. Opposition leader Peter Dutton has pledged to build 7 government-owned nuclear power stations by 2050, with the first being ready to go in just over a decade by 2035 if the coalition wins the next election.
Mr. Dutton said nuclear power is integral to the energy mix if Australia is to have cheap, clean and reliable power in the long term. The announcement ensures energy and the environment will be key battlegrounds during the next election. Under the plan, there will be 5 large-scale power plants and 2 small modular reactors, all in operation by 2050. The large-scale plants, which would have a capacity of between 1 and 1.4 megawatts, will be built on the site of old coal-fired power stations. There's a couple in New South Wales, one in Lithgow, one in Hunter Valley, Traralgon in Victoria, Mount Murchison and Tauranga in Queensland. Now, all sites are currently in coalition-held electorates. These small modular reactors, which are still a concept technology, no one's actually built one yet. The plan is to build those in Port Augusta in South Australia and Collie in Western Australia. Mr. Dutton said they'll be part of an energy mix with renewables and significant amounts of gas, particularly in the interim period. He said nuclear power was more realistic than green hydrogen, which is still not commercially viable. No details on the cost. Mr. Dutton said that will come in a few weeks' time, but remember last month, the CSIRO estimated the nation's first large-scale nuclear power plant could cost as much as $17 billion and wouldn't be operational till 2040.
Sean, there is plenty in all of that, but just quickly, what was the immediate response like?
Pile on, really. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called it economic madness. Treasurer Jim Chalmers said nuclear takes longer, costs more and would waste Australia's unique combination of geological, geographical, geopolitical and meteorological advantages. None of the state governments kind of came out in support of it, particularly those where the power plants are supposed to be. Business community was mixed. The Minerals Council of Australia came out in favour of it. What it does do is, in the run-up to the next election, both agree coal-fired power stations need to close. Both agree we need gas for transition. One party wants nuclear. The other is backing wind, solar, hydro and hydrogen.
All right, moving on to story number 2 now. And Wall Street, Sean, has a new king. It's official.
It is. The value of Nvidia, the US-based chip maker that manufactures the brains for artificial intelligence, hit $3.4 trillion yesterday, more than Microsoft, more than Apple. It debuted on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange in 1999, made the S&P 500 3 years later. Stocks up 10% in the last 5 days, 40% the last month, 170% in the past year, and 591,000% since its IPO 25 years ago. Its place in history, Michael, is now assured.
Yeah, certainly seems to be. Now, Sean, story number 3, home prices are forecast to keep rising over the next year, with most capital cities reaching new highs, according to leading online property group Domain.
Strong population growth, struggles getting new homes built and increased borrowing power will drive the growth for both houses and units, Domain predicts. House prices in Perth are tipped to grow by around 9%, Adelaide at 8%, 7% in Sydney and Brisbane. Prices in many regional centres, including the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, are likely to hit new records, according to Domain. News isn't so good for homeowners in some of the other capitals, with growth in Canberra forecast to come in around 2% and just 1% in Melbourne. Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide and Perth also lead the units market.
Story number 4, there are growing concerns, Sean, about the shortage of air traffic controllers at secondary airports around the country. This is pretty alarming. Some towers are being unmanned at certain times of the week.
There are currently no overnight air traffic control services at Darwin, yet around midnight on most days, more than a dozen flights have to arrive or depart with almost no guidance from the ground. Townsville doesn't staff its control tower over weekends, and almost 50 commercial services have to coordinate their own landings or takeoffs on Sundays alone, according to a report on Bloomberg. It means flight crews are taking on the task of distancing their planes from other air traffic, and pilots say landing without direction from a tower removes a very important layer of security at a critical period of the flight.
All right, last one. Story number 5. This is kind of funny, actually. McDonald's will no longer use artificial intelligence services at its drive-thrus after customers' orders were you've got to say wildly misinterpreted.
Yes, the fast food chain has been trialling the voice recognition software since 2019, but there have been numerous examples of the technology failing to record orders correctly. According to a report in the Telegraph of London, one person was given a bacon-topped ice cream. While system malfunctions that caused hundreds of dollars worth of nuggets to be automatically added to an order have spawned a series of mocking videos. In one posted on TikTok, a woman attempts to order caramel ice cream, but instead gets multiple portions of butter. Who knows? McDonald's has told franchises that the technology will be removed by the end of July.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It is Thursday, the 20th of June, 2024. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget to check out the new episode of our sister podcast, How Do They Afford That?, with financial planner Canna Campbell. This week, we take a look at 5 different ways to budget your money. The 50-30-20 rule, the envelope system, zero-based budgeting, a whole lot of different ones that get a lot of airtime on social media, but they are not all created equal. So check that one out. I'll put a link in today's show notes. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.